Your washer dies Tuesday night. The drum won't spin. You've fixed this before. A cheap part and a video made it run fast. But today, try that same fix now. You'll hit a wall you won't expect. You locate the specific part, then order a replacement. Upon installation, the machine refuses to recognize the component. The control board flashes an error, and the drum remains unresponsive. Not because the part is faulty, but because it isn't digitally authorized. Welcome to the modern appliance economy. This is where you own the device, yet lack the right to repair it. This isn't a mere glitch. Instead, it's a deliberate system. It was designed intentionally. Appliance makers crafted a three-pronged trap aiming to keep you forever reliant on their certified service network. Each element of this scheme bolsters the others. Together, they create a closed loop that forces out independent repair businesses and do-it-yourself homeowners completely. The initial trap is called digital parts pairing. Here's the mechanism. Manufacturers now employ digital handshakes to secure down new replacement components. From your dishwasher's main control board to the motor inverter in your dryer, the hardware links to a distinct digital serial number. When a new component is installed, the machine's motherboard verifies that number against its internal registry. Should those numbers not match, the board rejects the component. The appliance either shuts down entirely or operates in a limited mode until an authorized technician arrives with their proprietary software to execute a digital handshake between the original board and the new component. You might install an identical part even from the same factory, yet the machine will still reject it. The problem is never compatibility, it's about control. Oregon became the first state nationwide to outright ban parts pairing, with the law taking effect in January 2025. Colorado followed, with its own ban taking effect in January 2026. Right to repair legislation has now been introduced in all 50 states. 84% of Americans back these laws, but manufacturers are not staying still. They're lobbying intensely and designing fresh workarounds quicker than lawmakers can address the previous ones. The second trap proves even tougher to legislate away, as it's physical, not digital. It's named epoxy potting. Unfasten the back panel of a contemporary washing machine or fridge and inspect main control board. Frequently, you'll discover it fully encased in a thick layer of hardened resin. This industrial epoxy compound is poured directly over the full circuit board and then cured until it becomes rock solid. Manufacturers assert this provides waterproofing and vibration resistance. Independent repair technicians, however, have another term for it. Here's what epoxy potting truly does. If a 10-cent capacitor blows on that board, a competent technician used to be able to simply desolder the faulty component and replace it within minutes. The part cost nearly nothing. Labor was minimal. With epoxy potting, you cannot access the board whatsoever. You cannot see the parts. You cannot test them. You cannot reach them with a soldering iron. The entire $400 motherboard gets tossed in the trash, forcing you to buy a new one from the manufacturer. A 10-cent fix turns into a $400 replacement, and that's precisely the whole point. If you find this useful, hit subscribe. We reveal the engineering tactics corporations use to drain your wallet weekly. Now let's discuss the third trap, which might be the most insulting of all. Go back to the 1990s and open the front service panel of almost any major appliance. Glued inside that panel, you'd discover a folded paper schematic, a complete wiring diagram for the machine. If your dryer stopped heating, you could consult that schematic, trace the circuit, test its components with a basic multimeter, and pinpoint the exact failure. The machine was explicitly designed to be understood by the person who purchased it. Now go ahead and open the front panel of a modern washer. You'll find absolutely nothing. No schematic, no wiring diagram, not even a troubleshooting guide. Instead, you'll see a digital display flashing a vague error code, such as E16 or F21, and the manufacturer explicitly refuses to publish the code index to the public. You won't know what E16 signifies. You cannot search for it. This information isn't in any accessible manual, so you must call for service. A technician arrives, connects a laptop to your machine, and within about 90 seconds explains the code's meaning. That service visit will cost you between $100 and $150. You've just paid a diagnostic ransom for data the manufacturer intentionally concealed from you. And that's when the true bill begins, because you now require the authorized part, which activates the parts pairing trap. And if the board itself failed, the epoxy potting dictates you'll replace the entire unit. One malfunctioning appliance, 3 interconnected traps, each feeding revenue directly back to the very same manufacturer. The appliance repair industry in the United States now generates $1 billion a year. An average repair cost between independent repair businesses, the local experts who once competed on price and skill, are being squeezed out. They cannot obtain the diagnostic software. They cannot acquire the pairing keys. They cannot mend the epoxy potted boards. Manufacturers haven't simply made it difficult for you to fix your own items. They've made it almost impossible for anyone but their authorized network to perform the repairs. However, this is where the narrative shifts. States are pushing back vigorously, and they are fighting hard. Oregon and Colorado have now banned parts pairing. California now compels manufacturers to supply diagnostic tools, components, and documentation to independent shops and consumers for any device worth $50 or more at wholesale. Minnesota's legislation encompasses appliances and consumer electronics sold within the state. Furthermore, 2026 model legislation currently moving through state houses explicitly forbids software-based restrictions on parts access, demands that repair tools function offline without manufacturer authorization, and forbids companies from requesting serial numbers as a condition for selling you a new replacement part. The appliance in your laundry room was engineered to fail so that only its maker can truly profit. You'll find a locked motherboard, concealed error codes, and components that reject themselves. None of this occurred by chance. Every feature making your machine tougher to repair is a feature designed to make the manufacturer more profit. The question is whether you will continue paying this ransom, or if you will begin purchasing from companies that still respect your right to fix what you truly own.